Well, the honorable member and the honorable minister both have one thing in common, the huge bureaucratic experience. And I'm sure there will be a synergical approach between them, trained as they are for decades. Honorable members, the Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022, the discussion will now continue on Monday. I will now start with the special mentions. Dr. Kanimoji NVN Somo.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. In the budget 22-23, the government had announced setting up animation, visual effects, gaming and comics task force to build domestic capacity to serve Indian markets and global demand. Chennai is universally acknowledged and recognized as India's Hollywood as a leader in film production with tremendous scope for visual effects and special effects. Chennai leads from the front in the audio, video production, post-production, processing activities like digital recording, mastering, dubbing and animation. Hundreds of films are being produced in our country every year, and Chennai is the hub of film and television industry, social media networks and OTT platforms which provide tremendous opportunities for those who have a penchant for the visual art. It could also open up new avenues. The potential for job opportunities in the AVGC sector is humongous. The number would vary between 1 to 1.5 lakh job opportunities for the entire space. The AVGC sector is growing rapidly, but there's a void for good programmers and graphic designers. Sir, keeping pace with the developed countries where they have invested substantially, it is necessary that our country to create adequate workforce and also provide job opportunities for youngsters in this field. Thank you.
Shri Subhash Chandra Bose Pilli. Ramnath Thakur.
देश में अन्य पिछड़े वर्ग की आबादी 54% से अधिक है, लेकिन इन्हें सरकारी सेवाओं में 1993 से लेकर 27% के स्थान पर मात्र 20% ही आरक्षण मिल पाया है। यह आंकड़े कार्मिक मंत्रालय की वार्षिक रिपोर्ट 1 जनवरी 2019 तक 55 मंत्रालयों और विभागों में ओबीसी कर्मचारियों की स्थिति का है। क्रीमी लेयर का प्रावधान भी ओबीसी को सरकारी सेवाओं में जाने से रोकता है। इस प्रावधान के तहत संघ लोक सेवा द्वारा चयन परीक्षा उत्तीर्ण करने वाले ओबीसी अभ्यर्थी आईएएस और आईपीएस जैसी सेवाओं से वंचित हो रहे हैं। ओबीसी परिवार की आय 8 लाख वार्षिक है, जो वह क्रीमी लेयर है, और सामान्य वर्ग की आय 8 लाख है, तो वह गरीब है। ओबीसी हेतु बैकलॉग भर्तियों को पूरा नहीं किया जा रहा है। भर्तियां बार-बार सरकारी खामियों से निरस्त हो रही है। ओबीसी समुदाय का पढ़ा लिखा व्यक्ति सेवाओं हेतु तय आयु के कारण ओवर एज होकर तिल कर अपने सपनों को धूमिल होता देख रहा है। ऐसी कई दोहरी नीतियों के कारण ओबीसी समुदाय आरक्षण लेने से वंचित है। अब जब समय पर जनप्रतिनिधि चुन सकते हैं, तो जब बेरोजगारी इतिहास के सर्वाधिक स्तर पर है, तो नियुक्तियां को क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं। मांग है अविलंब सरकार 27% आरक्षण का लाभ ओबीसी समुदाय को एक समय सीमा के तहत प्रदान करे।
Shri Neeraj Dangi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir. So this is a very important issue I am raising with your permission through this special mention. So unregulated fee hike by IIMs is a serious concern. The concept of IIM was initiated by Shri Jawaharlal Nehru on the recommendation of Planning Commission in 1960, with the aim to produce human capital and managerial and decision-making skills needed to promote industrialization in the country. IIM Act 2017 tenders autonomy to IIMs for fee regulations and student intake. The autonomy plays a significant role in incentivizing the IIMs. The fee hike for the academic year 2020-2022, the average fee in old IIMs is rupees 20.7 lakhs. Those in new IIMs is rupees 13.7 lakh for 2-year full-time course. On the other hand, the management institutions under UGC and AICTE are restricted by AICTE notification dated May 1, 2020 for fee hike. The lack of accountability owing to an absence of government intervention leads to more questions than answers. Fee hike in IIM inches the hump of a hurdle for eligible aspirants, particularly from middle class and deprived to acquire managerial skills. The present scenario compromises a very fundamental objective of education in the country that aims to provide accessibility and affordability to the prospective and existing workforce. Fee hike is in premier management institutions leave most middle-class eligible aspirants with the only option of educational loan to fund their dreams. Increasing fees of IIMs balloons loan requirement significantly. This fee hike will thwart aspirants' dream of acquiring managerial skills. I urge the Government of India to critically observe and amend the fee structure of IIMs. Thank you, sir.
Maharaja Sanjva Laisemba.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Sir, my special mention is demand to resolve the Indo-Myanmar border issue and complete the fencing between Manipur-Myanmar border. Sir, the government of Manipur is trying its best to stop the smuggling of illegal drugs and infiltration of illegal immigrants in the state from the neighboring countries Myanmar. However, all the efforts of the state government to solve the menace of the smuggling, illegal drugs and infiltration of illegal migrants met with unlimited success due to the porous border between Indo-Myanmar. Considering these two serious problems facing by the state government, I request the government of India through this House to resolve the border issue and complete the fencing as early as possible so as to enable to carry out successfully the state government's mission, war on drugs, and stop the infiltration of illegal migrants through the porous border. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Shrimati J.B. Mather Hisam.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, for the opportunity. This House was informed on 3rd August 2022 that about Rupees 10 lakh crore was written off in the last 5 financial years. If so, why don't the government waive off the loans given out to the small farmers under the Kisan Credit Card Scheme, lending Rupees 1.6 lakh credit without collateral? Having expected a positive turn in the economy, the central government has tried to give incentives to various players, including the corporates. However, the motive is not seen fulfilled. Further, no concrete action plan has so far been devised to recover tax arrears estimated at more than Rupees 21 lakh crore. In such a context, the contention raised against offering freebies to ordinary people is not justifiable. While the big corporates leave the economy in peril, the well-being of the ordinary people and the downtrodden should not be sidelined. The people who have been the pivotal stakeholder of our democratic system are entitled to claim a reasonable dividend out of the Indian parliamentary democracy. And the welfare of the people needs to be the foremost priority of a democratic nation. I urge the government to take necessary steps for the well-being of ordinary people.
Shri Rajmani Patel, Shri V. Vijay Reddy.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Sir, See, this is a subject relating to the request to provide support to aqua farmers in the light of the recent export crisis, sir. India is the second largest player in the global aquaculture market with annual exports crossing $7 billion. The Indian aquaculture industry holds great significance given the fact that it supports the livelihood of more than 3 crore people, mostly from the marginalized communities. Our blue economy is currently battling a crisis, facing losses worth to 25,000 crores due to various factors such as rise in input costs, fall in export prices, increase in duties in major importing regions like EU and USA, and disruption of global supply chains. Sir, as unsold stocks pile up, the current storage infrastructure has fallen short of demand. Since marine products are perishable, lack of adequate storage facilities has resulted in wastage of harvested stock, leading to massive losses for aqua farmers. Unfortunately, Andhra Pradesh has faced the major brunt of these losses since it is the largest producer and exporter of aquaculture products in the country. Sir, the future of blue revolution in India is largely dependent on making aquaculture sector more resilient against such crises. With billions of dollars in imports and livelihood of lakhs of families at stake, the government must provide support to aquaculture in the hour of crisis, sir. Therefore, I urge the government to provide minimum support price and input subsidies for aqua farmers similar to that of agricultural sector. The government should also improve the storage infrastructure to minimize the wastage. Lastly, I request the government to hold negotiations with major importing nations to bring down their import duties and restrictions. Thank you very much.
Srimati Mosam Noor.
For giving me an opportunity to raise such an important issue under special mention. So each year, the district of Malda in West Bengal is severely impacted by the erosion of the Ganga River. Since 2017, nearly 320 acres of land and 10 kilometers of the river have been lost to these erosions. 2,000 families have been stranded due to the destruction, of which 400 were stranded in this year alone. These yearly erosions have impacted 23,000 people in the last 5 years, while damaging infrastructure worth rupees 250 crores. The damaged infrastructure includes important public and private properties such as citizens' houses, temples, mosques, schools, orchards, markets, as well as newly constructed inroads to the villages. In February 2022, the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, had written to the Ministry of Water Resources requesting them to restore the extended 120-kilometer jurisdiction of the Farakka Barrage Protection Authority. The Farakka Barrage is the only barrier capable of limiting the damage caused by the Ganga siltation, and the aforementioned jurisdiction would help administrations in taking up urgent bank protection schemes in the whole stretch. However, to this day, no action has been taken, causing the destruction to continue. I request the Minister to take urgent cognizance of the matter and ensure the public life and property is not ruined any further. Thank you, sir.
Shri Ajit Kumar Bhuyo.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Sir, the government has embarked upon the National Mission on Edible Oils, oil palm, with an outlay of rupees 11,040 crore, primarily in the northeast region and Andaman and Nicobar Island. Under this mission, a target has been fixed to start oil palm cultivation in an additional 1 million hectares by 2025 to 26 and an additional 6.5 lakh hectares by 2029-30. The government has valid reasons for this effort because it wants to reduce the import of edible oil into the country. Sir, the productivity of oil palm is said to be about 4 to 5 times of normal oil seeds like mustard, coconuts, etc. But the experience from Malaysia and Indonesia, the two countries where oil palm production is the highest in the world, clearly shows that large-scale deforestation and loss of biodiversity have resulted from oil palm cultivation. Sir, although the government says that oil palm cultivation will be done on irrigated agricultural land, in view of the paucity of such land, it is very likely to be cultivated on forest land which will seriously degrade the rich biodiversity. And we need to remember that the loss of biodiversity is not only a scientific or environmental concern. COVID-19 has also shown us how big an impact it can make on the world at large, because all new viruses can be ultimately traced to the loss of biodiversity. Sir, thus the damages due to oil palm cultivation are likely to outweigh the benefits of it, and the government should give serious thought to this. Thank you.
Shri Abir Ranjan Biswas.
So I thank you for giving me this opportunity of raising this important issue of need for further studies before rollout of GM mustard. So the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee has approved the rollout of a kind of genetically modified mustard, that is GM mustard, called Dhara Mustard Hybrid 11, TMH11. Concerns have arisen that the hybrid has not been adequately tested and that releasing it would be detrimental to pollinators like bees. Researchers have warned that the strain is herbicide resistant and will lead to increased herbicide use, resulting in more chemicals in food crops and soil. It is estimated that even a 25% adoption of GM mustard would result in a loss of 4 crore employment days to weed removing workers who are mostly women. Spread of sterile traits and herbicide tolerance in GM crops can benefit corporate manufacturers but adversely affect nearby farmlands. Experts have argued that the testing procedure was not scientific, and hence the claims that GM mustard has higher yields than traditional and natural agronomic cultivation methods is incorrect. Agriculture is a state subject, sir. Under entry 14 of list 2 in schedule 7, the union government must uphold principles of federalism when taking decisions which expose our farmers to chemicals and GMOs. Prematurely sowing GM mustard will have drastic consequences of India's poor farmers, consumers and the environment. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Shri Muhammad Nadimul Haq.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Respected Chairman, sir, I rise today to request the government to update us on the actions taken to compensate the victims of fraud and misappropriation of public money by postal staff. Across the circles in the states and union territories of Punjab, Odisha, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, the Comptroller and Auditor General's report has cited a misappropriation of rupees 95.62 crores of public money between November 2002 and September 2021. It is very shameful that the postal staff have made fraudulent withdrawals from closed accounts that were shown as active with fake balances. Fake accounts were opened and fake deposit entries were made. Cash deposits by customers were entered in passbooks without being credited to their post office accounts. Fake signatures and thumb impressions were facilitated by postal staff. There were cases of unauthorized use of user ID and passwords by other postal staffs or outsiders as well, leading to the fraud withdrawals. It is a matter of irresponsibility that Department of Posts inspecting authorities failed to detect the fraud even after a lapse of more than 5 years. They did not carry out prescribed internal checks and were marked with monitoring failures. As we know, the post office system was created to serve the investment needs of urban and rural clients through numerous schemes such as Savings Bank, Recurring Deposit, Kisan Vikas Patras, Public Provident Fund, and Sukanya Samradhi accounts. These should not turn into unreliable systems of corruption and deceit.
Shri Ilnamram Karim.
What is this mic, sir? Thank you, Chairman, sir. Indian engineers working in Kuwait are facing difficulties related to their job security since long. It began in March 2018 when the Kuwait Society of Engineers started insisting on the pre-requirement of NBA accreditation for the engineering courses pursued by Indian engineers to maintain the job status as engineers in their work permits. Due to this, most of the Indian engineers who studied in colleges without NBA accreditation are unable to continue their professional status as engineers and renew their residency and rights and other privileges. On 13 April 2018, our Higher Education Department informed the Minister of Higher Education of Kuwait that all the engineering colleges shall undergo the NBA accreditation process except 80 premier institutions, with an exception for the course which is completed prior to the function of NBA. However, with immense pressure from Indian engineers and companies in Kuwait, the KSC decided to accept the engineering degree with a precondition that the course shall have NBA accreditation at any time, irrespective of graduation year. After the COVID-19 pandemic, now KSC revised its stance by making mandatory NBA accreditation for the engineering discipline during the entire 4-year study. The above decision created panic among the Indian engineers, as 90% of Indian engineers don't have NBA accreditation for their course during the entire period of study. In this scenario, I urge the government to interfere in this issue and negotiate with Kuwait authorities to accept all higher education degrees issued by the universities established under AICTE. Thank you, sir.
Honorable members, the House stands adjourned to meet at 1100 hours on Friday, the 9th December 2022.